What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to today's video where I'm standing in what is usually the Trans Am spot. Right now it's outside curing because I'm done with the process that I outlined in the title and thumbnail of the video, where we're going to be doing some paint correction and ceramic coating to the Trans Am. Been talking about it for a little while. I've had the product on the shelf, but I finally spent a couple days doing it with my buddy Dan. And what we're also going to do in it is service the car by giving it an oil change and kind of prepping it for Powercruise, which is in about a week from when I'm filming this. We're also going to get a new set of tires finally put on it because the last few weeks I've been burning them off once in a while. And at Powercruise, it's kind of it's an event at Brainerd International Raceway where we're going to do some quick driving. The front runners are pretty old, so I'm a little bit worried to go 120, 130 on them maybe. And the rears are shot. They're more square than anything, and there's no tread left. The first thing I want to get into is who won the scan tool. So I'm going to hop on my computer real quick and pick randomly who's going to win based on the last video of everybody that just dropped a comment on it. So we'll hop to the computer and pick a winner. Alright, so we're going to pick the winner from the video here. I found an easier way to do it, and I tested this a few times and it seems to be pretty accurate. So copy the link for the YouTube URL, paste it, and get our comments. 73 unique people commented on it. We filtered out duplicate users, and you'll see here that we're just able to pick a winner this way instead of me copying and pasting every single name, which takes forever. So Randy Landfried, here's his comment. Congrats to Randy. I'll be getting in touch with you, and you won the scan tool. So congrats, and hopefully we can do it again sometime here. Alright, man, congratulations. Thank you everybody for playing. We'll be doing another giveaway sometime, I'm sure. I haven't talked to the people that gave me the last couple scan tools, but maybe they'll want to do another one. Who knows? So thanks for everyone that played. We've given away a couple in the last few videos, so congrats to you, and hopefully we can play again sometime. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is get the car up in the air, and we're going to change the oil on it because it's getting to be that time of year where it's time for me to change it anyways. And what I would like to do is make sure that we have good, clean motor oil and a new oil filter in the car for Powercruise. So we'll hop right into that. Alright, so here we are. Just going to drop off the tires and wheels real quick. The last wheel, or the last tire rather, showed up right when I pulled up to the shop here. I got an email notification as you'd expect. I'll get these unloaded and drop the last one off tomorrow morning. The car looks really good. There is just a little bit of swirl marking in the paint up on the hood, which a light buff is going to take care of. So you can probably see a little bit of it there in the light. It's pretty much only on the hood. Otherwise, the rest of the body is really good. So what I'm going to have to do is give it a really good wash and pretty much go over the car, make sure there's no defects. I'm going to clay bar the whole thing one more time. It should go a lot quicker this time now that all the overspray and paint and road grime and stuff is off. And if I can find an iron decontamination product, I'm going to buy that today too and do an iron decontamination, because that's in all the paint on every car. It's all over the place, and from what I understand, the clay barring doesn't actually pull out all that stuff. So anyways, we'll get right into the video. I'm gonna go for a little drive in the car, and I guess I'm not sure we're gonna pick up yet, but I'll see you guys in a little bit. and con, and they're very, very different. A lot of people have asked, like, you know, which one's better, Corvette or an F-body? And to be completely honest, there is no comparison. The Corvette is a much better car in every single way. The F-body's different though. It's a better driving experience, I think. But if you guys wanted to, maybe if you want to see like a full video on the differences between an F-body and a Corvette as far as driving experience goes, just give me a shout. All right, so I did have one thought that I wanted to share right now while it was fresh in my head. Driving this car, one of the major differences that I feel is the clutch pedal feel. Now, this car, I would like it more to driving an 85 Chevy K10 with like a granny 4-speed. That's how the clutch pedal feels to me. Only because now I got used to driving the Corvette a little bit. They're so different, it's actually hard to get in one and then the other because the pedal engages almost all the way at the top on this car and it's right off the floor on the other car. So they're just not the same. That's one big difference. The other big difference that I'm noticing right now, besides the amount of power, which is relative, is how the steering feels in this car. The steering is a lot heavier. I feel like there's actually feedback in it, and to be honest, I really prefer it to what's in the C6, even without the steering problem that it's having. I felt the same way with the last car too. The other one feels a little bit more numb. There's not really as much sensation. It doesn't feel heavy like this car does a little bit. It's missing something. I don't know what it is. It doesn't have the same good feeling that, say, an F-body has, which is relative as well. So if I was picking one car or another to drive every day, so far I'd still have to pick the Corvette. Even like a base model Corvette, they just drive a lot better. It's just a nicer vehicle to be in. Set aside the interior and everything else about it. So far I'm giving the vote to the Corvettes, unfortunately. Alright, so I made it back home and I did end up buying an iron deposit remover. Now this is important because clay barring gets a lot of surface contamination up. This actually converts the iron into an oxide, I believe, and it actually just dissolves embedded stuff that won't come out with a clay bar. So this is a step that you have to take. There's a lot of back and forth on what kind of soap to use to actually get down to like the base paint and remove the old sealants and waxes. There's a ton of back and forth online about it, so I'm just using a regular car wash soap. Some people say it's fine, some people say to use Dawn, some say you need a special product, some say don't use Dawn, don't use a special product. I don't really care. This is going to work for me, and as you can see, I've got a couple of buckets and a new wash bin and stuff, so this isn't like a professional how-to detailing video. If you want that, check out like MONYC or someone like that. But I'm going to get this car cleaned up and ready to go. So the first step is actually just to do a normal hand wash, and I'm going to clean the car really good. I'll let it dry, and then we're going to do the iron decontamination process. So we'll do a little time lapse, and hopefully it won't take too long, and we'll be back in the garage doing a little paint correcting and finally doing the ceramic coating. Car's all cleaned up and drying. Sorry I filmed a bunch of that off camera because I couldn't actually quite clean it and help it dry at the same time with the sun baking down, so kind of a quick process. But now it's time to do my iron decontamination. All I got to do the iron decontamination is basically spray it on each panel, and I'm going to agitate it with a microfiber towel. And what's going to happen is over a couple minutes it's going to end up actually breaking down any iron deposits that are in the paint. So this is one more step that you got to take when doing this little ceramic coating job. I'm going to keep on keeping on here, and I'll probably have to revisit this with you guys in the garage because the sun is coming down pretty hard right now, and I don't want this or the soap or anything to dry, so I'm kind of just working. But anyways, we'll start the decontamination. So after just a minute, I've only got a couple little spots here that have turned purple. Now, there's a couple there, and there's one down here, so I think the car is actually pretty clean and free of this iron contamination. It's not actually going to be that bad, but I've got a brand new microfiber towel, so after another minute or so here in the shaded side of the car, which is very important, I'm going to just rinse it thoroughly, and that'll be about all it takes to do the iron decontamination. I'll continue down the door and everything, and then I'll actually have to turn the car around and get the other side on the shaded side, obviously, so it doesn't just dry on the car. But it's pretty straightforward. I just wanted to show you guys one thing real quick. I think I got everything effectively cleared off here as far as protection goes, because we have no beading or anything on here. It's just a sheet of water. So I think what that means is that we are pretty much good to go. Everywhere else the water is just beating up like crazy. It's not coming off. So we're pretty much down to, so we are pretty much down to raw paint right now. So I'm just drying it off with the water blade. I'm gonna let it dry out in the sun for a while, and after this step I think I'm ready to bring it into the garage. Looking really good already. I'm super excited to get this thing actually cleaned up and finally ceramic coated. I've been talking about it forever, and it's kind of becoming more and more of a show pony in the garage. You know, it'll actually need a little bit more buffing than I thought. There's some swirl marks on the spoiler and love marks and stuff, but it's all normal. Alright, we got Dan here doing his magic on the spoiler. Got a microfiber pad on it right now, and I think we're using this fine cut cleaner. He kind of took it and just ran with it. So after talking about it a little bit, we could sit and do the entire car, because you'll see here there's scratches and stuff on the quarter panel. I didn't be able to see them on video. They're very fine. You can see them pretty good there. A lot of the cars like that, and I think the ceramic coating when you're actually done with it might exacerbate that a little bit, but you really have to look to see these in the first place. So I guess it was my thought on it, that we're just going to do the spoiler, the hood, and maybe the side of the sail panels, or anything real obvious, because it's going to be driven a lot. I'm not really looking for a perfect shade finish on it, but I think we can get a really good result for not a lot of effort. So looks like he made his first pass here, kind of cleaning it up.
Yeah, we're going to need a couple more.
Yep. Here you can see a little light there. It's really a little bit left, but how it was before, it's turning out really nice. The whole spoiler looks like it, so I'll show you this side of it, but that's pretty much the condition of it, if you can see it in that little circle light there. Here's this side. You can see the light right here. Sorry, this is really hard to show you. See the general condition of it. It's very mirror-like. Until you get to the... dude, this is hard to show on camera. And the quarter, the door, and the front fender are pretty much done. See if I can get an idea what it looks like. It's turned out good. There's a little bit of haziness on it, but a little bit more, and it's actually going to take care of a lot of it. So we're going for a pretty good finish. The biggest problem, like I probably said earlier, is the hood and that rear spoiler. So the hood's going to be one of the next things. I'll probably take that on with this with the circular buffer, or whatever you call it, orbital, and hopefully get something decent out of it. So as you can see here, there's a lot of scratches on it. Yeah, you can probably see it there. That's what the hood looks like. It's not really that great, so until you get the right light on it, it might look good, but it's actually kind of rough when you look close at it. So we've probably got another hour or two. We might finish tonight, might go into tomorrow, I don't know, but I'm going to keep buffing away on it, and hopefully have something pretty nice when we're done. Alright, so I think we're calling it a night. Dan's packing up, gonna head home. There's a little bit left to do, but the bugs are getting to be all over the car right now, so it's kind of hindering progress. And it's getting late, and anyways, tomorrow we're gonna finish the last couple of panels over here. Fenders left to do, the passenger's door. Probably won't be able to really tell, but could use a little bit of love. That's really all that's left for cutting. I'll do that in the morning. The hood and the spoiler are the #1 show ponies on this thing now. They turned out really good. Now, you probably saw the clip before. Look at that. It's 99% better. There's some little stuff left on it, but you know, if the guy went crazy, you could probably get it all out, but I'm probably not going to be that guy. Looks a lot better than it was. I've still got to do this panel. I'll finish this up tonight before I pack everything up and bring the Corvette back in. But otherwise, we got a pretty big portion of it done today. Tomorrow's polishing, and if I get my wheels and tires back, we'll wash it up and it'll be ready for the coating after a little bit of prep. So stay tuned for tomorrow. Alright, we're back on day 2. Looking over a little bit with better lighting now that there's a little bit of sunlight coming in the garage, obviously. There's a little spot I got to touch up here on the hood. There's a couple little things here that we're going to touch up a little bit better. Dan's on his way over right now, but overall the car's in remarkably better shape than it was yesterday. The spoiler is one of the more notable changes, and again, you probably won't be able to tell that well. I don't have great lighting in here, unfortunately. Check out the reflection of the light and the very few scratches that are left. There's one right there. But before, the whole spoiler lid was like totally washed out. It was real bad, lots of rub marks on it, all kinds of problems, and it's coming out really good overall. So I'm happy with it so far. Our progress has been really good, and we're just gonna keep grinding away on it. We've probably got a couple more hours worth of correction to do, and do a little isopropyl alcohol prep, and we'll go ahead and ceramic coat it. So a couple more hours, and we'll catch up with you guys in a little bit. Alright, so Dan and I are pretty much done with the correction part of it. We're going to go through and actually polish the whole car. So we're 90% done with like the major work. We're going to go through and try and touch up. This is the idea of touching up some like the imperfections that are less, and you're going to have like a shinier finish when you're done, for one. But it's like sanding. Like if anybody's used sandpaper before, you go from a coarser to a finer grit. So the idea is the same with correcting paint on this, but actually when you're starting, the logic's a little bit backwards. We're actually going to start with a less aggressive method and see if that takes care of it before you go to a more aggressive. So what we found on this car is that the car's paint is somewhat hard. Now this isn't like an instructional detailing video. If you want that sort of thing, check out Ammo NYC or Obsessed Garage or any number of good detailing channels out there. But we're taking a lot of information that's shared between them, and we started off with a lighter fine cut compound. You could even try with a polishing compound first and see what it does to your paint, but we ended up needing the most aggressive Meguiar's compound to put a dent in it with either of our buffing tools. So we actually use this Meguiar's Ultra Cut compound. This is what actually did the work to the car. We could have been here for many more hours with what I had. So luckily Dan had some of that, and it actually turned out really good so far. when we go through and polish it, it's gonna look awesome. We're gonna have to give it one more hand wash, and when we ceramic coat it, we're gonna have a good level of protection on it. So when you look at it right now, it looks great, but there's actually no protection at all in the paint, and that's what typically is a wax's job. So right now it's kind of in its raw state. I wouldn't recommend driving a vehicle like this at all very much, and obviously right now it's starting to rain, so I might not even get to wash it till maybe tomorrow when we get maybe a little bit better weather. But for now, we're getting pretty close. There's a couple of little scratches here and there that we're going to touch up with my rotary buffer. It seems to do the work a little bit quicker. And then we're going to get on to the polishing phase. So, alright, so we are done with the second stage of polishing. We went over the entire car, as Dan suggested, and it's a really good idea to actually get the car on the ground. We're going to take it outside and look at it in direct sunlight and be able to see if there's anything obvious. If we find anything, we'll put a little piece of tape on it to mark it. We can bring the car back in, touch up those spots, and we'll continue, I guess, to the next stage. But tires are all done, mounted on the same wheels I had. These are Nitto NT05s. They're the same wheels and tires I've got on the Corvette. So these have NT05s on all fours. This car's got a 315, I think it's a 35-17 in the back, and a 275-40-17 in the front. So these tires are good enough for the Corvette. They're good enough for the Trans Am, and yeah, it's not going to feel like it's riding on square wheels anymore, and I'm going to know that they're not old in the front, more importantly. So next weekend when I'm driving pretty fast, I'll be sort of confident in them, I guess. So anyways, we'll get the car back on the ground, start it up, pull it out, and see what we got. So Dan and I checked out the car. His eyes are better than mine. I couldn't find anything, and he found a good scratch on it on the other side. There's one thing that showed up out in the sunlight that we didn't quite see in the garage. Maybe you can see it. I marked it with tape, but there's one scratch right there. Kind of goes this way, so whether or not you can see it, I don't know, but we did find one thing and just marked it with tape. That's an easy way to mark it for when you go back inside. But otherwise, the rest of the car is looking really good already. It's actually got some depth to it now. You can see it in the video. It's actually got some reflection to it. I don't know that it had it before. It's looking really good. After we fix this little scratch, I think we're ready for prepping, then ceramic coating. So we'll see. I wish I had a smaller buffer for little stuff like this, and maybe areas up in here that aren't quite as accessible as you'd like, or smaller areas. So I see why people get them, but they're pretty expensive and neither of us have one, so we're kind of making do with what we got between us. But otherwise, car's looking good with the new tires too. Same size as the Mickey Thompsons that were on it. Kind of poke out behind the bumper. It's kind of a cool look. So we'll get the car back in, clean it up, and continue on. Alright, so Dan and I just finished prepping the car with a mixture of like 70% isopropyl alcohol and distilled water in these little spray bottles, and we got some new microfiber towels for it. It's important because if you use like tap water, there's minerals and stuff in it, and you don't want to leave water spots on it because there's a good chance you're going to leave it in the ceramic coating. So the isopropyl alcohol helps it evaporate if it's not 100% humidity like it is today. We've been fighting that a little bit. It's terrible out. Otherwise, the car is pretty much ready. The coating kit that we're going to throw on here is, got a couple recommendations from this, but specifically Bob on Instagram. I forget his handle. I'll put it here in some text. Anyways, he recommended it. He's got a black Trans Am similar to mine, but his looks perfect. It seems like he does detailing maybe professionally on the side as far as I can tell, but he recommended this along with a couple other guys. Anyways, we're just going to follow the instructions here. This isn't really an instructional video, but this is the process we'll be following if you guys wanted to check this product out yourself. I think this kit was like 60 bucks, so it's pretty affordable and there should be plenty to do the car. And anyways, we're going to get to applying here. We're going to do about 1.5 by 1.5 section each time. Buff it when it flash dries within the next minute or 2 minutes it's supposed to take, and then continue on when we get the excess buffed off. So it's quite a bit of real estate to cover, and we got one applicator pad, so it's going to be a little bit of a project, but probably start at the back of the car and work our way forward. So we've been slowly working our way to the front of the car. I'm starting to work on the hood here. After you apply it, if you wait a minute or two, I don't know if you can see this, it'll actually turn sort of like to a greasy finish. Almost looks like oil on water. Probably won't be able to see it, but that's within that 1 or 2 minute time frame. I seem to recall reading this online at a certain point that's when you're actually about ready to wipe it off. So Dan's working his way around this side too. He's doing the passenger side of the car. It's kind of slow going, and we're doing 2 coats. We're trying to wait maybe about 10 minutes between coats total, and you have to do them within 60 minutes regardless. So it's kind of a time sensitive thing once you get going, and we're kind of in the middle of it. So I'm trying to get you guys some footage of it, but it's something that you have to be a little involved with and try and keep the ball moving. So we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna have to wait till tomorrow to spray the reload on it, but so far it's looking like we're gonna have enough for 2 solid coats on the car, and probably report back in a while. Alright, so we are done ceramic coating. Now, this is the first time Dan and I have done this, and this is actually kind of an interesting car to test it on. This is a bigger vehicle, and I guess relatively, they're smaller cars, but would you say this car is bigger, on the bigger side as far as like just total surface area? Yeah, so it's a larger vehicle. The C-Quartz kit came with a, I don't know if there's a milliliter, whatever size this is. Anyways, it came with this size of a ceramic coat, and we actually ran out by the end of it. The instructions say you can do 2 coats, and they recommend up to 3. We did 2 coats on the whole car, except where you need it most, the front bumper cover, because we happen to start in the back of the car. So there's actually 1 coat on the front. I'm gonna order another ceramic coat kit because I need to do this, and I'm gonna go ahead and do the trim and the windows and everything too. So there's a little bit more to do on the car, but I'm going for a total protection on it, I guess, if you will. And there's another panel on the back which we actually didn't really touch, and we didn't coat accordingly. It's below the spoiler, so there's a little bit more work to do on the car, but overall it looks pretty awesome. We gotta wait like 12 hours and I can cover the car, and I think it's called Reflex or Reload. It's their little spray bottle here, Reload, silica spray sealant. So this would be similar to like a spray wax if you're gonna do the regular wax, or so there's like a few types of waxes that you put on a car conventionally when you're going to try and protect the paint from deposits and water spots and dirt and all that. And the whole idea behind ceramic coating is that it's a more modern way to do it. So the silica spray sealant is what I'm going to use on the car to add a layer of protection to what is already arguably one of the better forms of protection you can put on a car. Super labor intensive. It's more maybe than putting on wax, or it's comparable to doing a full wax job, but it looks pretty good. It doesn't fill in scratches, so the one thing I'll say is that 100% of your end result will be in the prep work, and we found that out. We went about 90% of the way detailing this one to get it ready for this, and it turned out pretty good. I'm happy with it. I think Dan's happy with it overall. I mean, like I was saying, we could have went further, but there's like a diminishing return with it, so another hour or 2 hours of buffing and prep would result in something that passerbys aren't even going to notice. It's only for you if you want to go that far, or if it's like a customer car or something like that. So anyways, that's about it for right now. I gotta let it sit for about 12 hours and I'll pick it up tomorrow. We're gonna put on this silica spray sealant. Alright guys, so it is an entire day later, and we've gone over the 12-hour mark by a pretty good margin. So the base ceramic coat that I put on the car should be cured enough right now where we can actually apply our reload to it. And what this is going to do is add a little bit more increasingly hydrophobic and repel dirt as well, so it's almost like a wax. And it's not a wax, but you can liken it in your head to a wax that you would apply on top of now clean and coated paint. So this is going to be an added layer of protection. It comes in the kit there. It's not something additional I had to buy. Pretty simple process. It'd be like spray waxing your car. I have a clean new microfiber towel, and what I'm going to do is go in good ambient lighting, is what's outlined, not direct sunlight, so you can see what you're doing. And I'm going to apply a small little test area. I'm going to spray the reload on, and I'm going to buff it, and when I'm ready to dry it, when it's starting to actually dry, I'm going to wipe it clear. So it's very similar to doing a spray wax. You're just going to want to buff it and make sure it looks good. You don't want any residue left over. So hopefully when we're all done, this is going to be one of the last steps. I'm going to let the car cure in here for the next 4 or 5 days until I'm going to take it on my little road trip to Powercruise. So this is going to be pretty straightforward, but we'll do one more time lapse and we'll catch you guys in a little bit. Alright, so I'm all done applying the reload, and the car is looking fantastic. Now, I have read online that the car will cure quicker, or the coating will cure quicker, rather, if you park it outside in direct sunlight. Now, you don't want to apply it in sunlight because it's going to speed up the curing process, which is going to be bad for applying it. So if you can follow that logic, this is actually going to help cure it quicker. So I'm going to park it outside for a few hours while we got direct sun and no rain. The most important thing is to keep it dry for the next few days, so I'm going to go let it bake for a while. Quick tip, if you do watch other ceramic coating videos, like Chicago Auto Pros does quite a few in particular, they have infrared heaters, and it's the same idea. So they cure these inside and they just bake the car when it's done. So I'm going to do the same thing and just use natural sunlight. It's the same idea in the end, but it's looking slick, guys. I'm getting more and more excited about it. Obviously the glass is dirty. I'm going to clean that when we're all done here, but I want it to cure for a couple days before I start getting anything else on the paint. So first things first, I'll get it outside and see what she looks like. So here's kind of the first look at it outside. The car in person looks really, really good. Now, the worst areas of the car were the rear spoiler. You can see the tree in it pretty good. So there's an idea of what the paint is like on the spoiler now. There's some fine scratches. There's a little rock chip right here. So there's some stuff that I wasn't able to get out because it is deep into the clear coat or through the paint. But that's going to be normal on a car with some miles on it. This one's got like 70,000 miles. But overall, the car came out super, super good, I think. I mean, there's some very small scratches in them that you can only see with a like a paint light or like a bright LED spotlight. So anything like that, you're not even going to probably see it outside because the paint actually reflects so much light, you can't quite tell, to be honest. Another view of this side here. The one thing that I noticed is how much it glows and reflects now. The paint was a lot hazier than I thought, so you can see along the side of the car there, you can see the color really well on the grass and the house and everything. It turned out really, really good, so I'm super impressed with this product, to be completely honest. Now, if there's one thing that I'll say about ceramic coating, it's that it's not actually going to fill in any scratches or anything like that. So if you have scratches, especially on dark paint, it's going to exacerbate them. So what that means is that I believe I said it earlier in the video, but it's super true that your end product is 100% dictated by how much prep work you put into it. The ceramic coating isn't the magic. It's how much work you put in first. Like 90% of it's prep work and maybe 10% is the coating. To be honest, to me it doesn't look too much different than when I had even just coated it. But there's one little mistake here. I got one little greasy spot. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. But right in here, looks like we didn't wipe off all the coating, so there's a little greasy spot on it, which sucks, but you do run a little bit of a risk doing this. So this is one car that I'm learning a little bit on. There's a little mistake on it, but that's okay. It'll come off in 10 years when I finally wash it a couple times and get it out in the sun a little bit, but otherwise the car looks really good. And to be honest, I don't think anybody would notice that if I didn't even point it out. So that's gonna be about it for today's video, guys. Congrats to the winner of the latest scan tool. If you guys are interested in this isn't like a paid thing. I just bought this online based on your recommendations. This is C-Quartz 3.0 ceramic coating kit. You can look back in the video and see exactly which one I got. It's a whole kit. Came with a bottle of Boost and everything, so I can actually maintain this a little bit, but it's a good product. There's a lot of them out there. The prices vary a little bit, but I'm happy with this, so I could be another supporter of this product in particular. And if you guys liked it or want to see anything else about it, hit me up on Instagram. I'm pretty good at getting back to everybody on, you know, questions and things like that, but I'm going to show you a little bit more of the car. If you're more interested in doing like an instructional how to do paint correction or how to ceramic coat, let me know for sure, because I have this car behind me here, the Z06, which is black, and it shows every little defect in it. Now, this is already like a 12-year-old car, and you can see just how hazy and scratched up the car is. Now, this is not the most fair representation of it because obviously it's dirty. I need to wash the car. It's super dirty right now. I mean, look at the windshield. So there's a lot of road grime and grease on it and stuff that'll come out. It actually shows pretty well, but this would actually be my next guinea pig for doing paint correction and ceramic coating, and I think it's a great candidate for it. Anyways, if you guys want to see this, drop a comment down below. I'd be more than happy to do it. I'm sure Dan would too after I put him through the ringer the last couple days. I think we could knock this out in probably a couple days and have one heck of a good looking car when we're all done with it, because it's already off to a pretty good start. But anyways, like I said earlier, the car's hiding outside right now. Anyways, that's gonna about do it for today's video. And we're about to go on a little road trip in the car, and we're gonna go do some racing. So we'll see you guys in the next one.